What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiancé Season 9, Episode 2, Houston, We Have a Problem. Let's get into Gino. So when we see Gino, he is still on his date with Natalie, which is the woman that he met on social media, and he wants to try to pursue something with her. Natalie asks him when was the last time that him and Jasmine had sex. And Gino says before marriage. Now, I don't know exactly how long Gino and Jasmine have been married, but we have been through two franchises with them being married. They were on 90 Day Fiancé, I think Happily Ever After, where they actually got married, I think. And then they were on The Last Resort, and now they are on 90 Day Fiancé again. So I'm thinking they've been married probably at least a year, maybe 2 years or something. And he says that they haven't had sex since before marriage. Now, before I go any further, Gino and Jasmine are exhausting because we don't know what's real, we don't know what's fake. Everything is smoke and mirrors with these people because nothing they do makes any sense. They're married to each other, but they have an open marriage. They've always argued. They've always had issues with one another. I don't know if they're just pretending to have issues for the camera and for a check, or if they really do have issues. I don't know if they're like in an actual marriage or is it just a business partnership to be on this show. Nothing about Jasmine and Gino makes any sense to me whatsoever. On the surface, if we're going to believe what they're presenting to us, which is they got married and they're having all of these marital issues, she says that he's addicted to porn. He says that he can't have sex with her because she's always berating him and putting him down, and they're always arguing, which kills the mood for him. Then why in the world are y'all still together? If we're going to accept what they're giving us, that they are married and this is a real marriage, why are y'all still together? Y'all have been going through problems since day one, since way before y'all ever got married. The fact that Gino, way before they even got married, when he was still visiting her in Panama, and he had sent some sexy photos or her in a bikini or her topless or something. He had sent some very risque photos to another woman that he was talking to. That, if I was Jasmine, that right there would have been enough for me to end the relationship. But no, she stayed on. She even said that that cost her her teaching job, those photos, because those photos were released online or something. So, but she stayed. Okay, there had been so many points in their relationship where they really should have just gone their separate ways, but they continue to mess around with each other. So now we're in this, not mess around with each other because they're not doing that. They continue to be stuck to one another for some reason. So now they're in this open marriage, which makes no sense to me at all. The fact that their justification for the open marriage is that once Jasmine can be sexually satisfied by another man, then she's going to feel better about being with Gino. But the problem really isn't with Jasmine. The problem is really with Gino because he's the one that refuses to sleep with his own wife. And he says it's because whenever they're arguing and bickering, it kills the mood. But they're not arguing and bickering every single night. And then when they were on, I don't even know what franchise it was. It was the one where at the tell all, everybody on the cast was staying in one mansion. And then they would go do the tell all, then they would all come back and return and stay together in this one big mansion. It was that season. Um, Whenever Gino was like, okay, I'm going to try to have relations with my wife. And then the next day they come back on the tell all and Jasmine is like, I slept in the living room or I slept on the couch or I didn't want to be. It's like y'all don't want to be with each other, period. So why are y'all still together? How is an open marriage going to fix anything? How is her being satisfied with another man that she's very much attracted to? How is that going to make her want Gino more? Like the whole thing makes no sense at all. So I can't invest too much in Jasmine and Gino because I don't know what they're doing. It's not making any sense to me at all. I can't follow the storyline whatsoever. But anyway, So he tells Natalie that they haven't had sex since before they even got married. So Natalie's trying to find, I feel like she's trying to figure out where are the cracks in this relationship between Gino and Jasmine so that I can come and fill them up, and become that woman for Gino. Like she's trying to figure out where are they having the problem so she can know how to lure Gino into her own trap. So Gino invites her back to his hotel. So she accepts. They go back to his room, and Gino tells us that he should feel guilty, but this whole open marriage thing was Jasmine's idea, so he's going to take advantage of it too, right? He's like he's going to try not to feel guilty about being with Natalie because this whole idea of seeing other people was Jasmine's idea. So they're in the room, they're licking champagne bottles and talking and getting very flirtatious with one another. Gino tells us that he hasn't had sex in a year and he just really wants to jump Natalie's bones. Okay, so now he gives us a specific time frame. He says him and Jasmine haven't had sex in a year. But her having sex with another man is going to somehow make you want to have sex with her? Like, I'm really trying to understand the logic. Natalie ends up leaving before anything happened. So she didn't spend the night with him in his room, but Gino said that he was ready to go. And with Jasmine, he's always struggling. He's always struggling with Jasmine. He doesn't feel any type of, he's never in the mood with Jasmine, basically. He's never in the mood with Jasmine because he claims that Jasmine is always yelling at him and putting him down and whatever. And so it kills his libido. So whatever issues that he's had with Jasmine, evidently he doesn't have them with Natalie. So it's not like a medical condition for him. Because I thought at some point I thought maybe that's what Gino's problem is. Maybe he's having some type of a medical condition like ED or something. But he claims that he was ready to go with Natalie. He was revved up and ready to go with Natalie, and he can never get that way with Jasmine. So their last day in Las Vegas, Natalie wants to get to the bottom of Gino and Jasmine's relationship because at this point, Gino has not told Natalie that he is in an open marriage with Jasmine. Natalie thinks that Gino and Jasmine are separated. They're having issues, they're separated. And so she wants to know exactly what's going on so she can figure out how she can move forward with Gino. So Gino finally reveals to her that they are still together, but they're in an open marriage in order to fix their problems. And like I've said before, and how he explains it to Natalie is if she is intimate with another man, it somehow it'll make her happy. And I guess when she's happy, she won't be fighting with him, which then his libido won't be killed. So then he'll be able to have sex with Jasmine. I guess that's the logic. So Natalie is surprised that they are still together in an open marriage because she was like, I've been talking to Gino for months and he should have brought this up to me a whole lot earlier than now before things got as advanced as it did with them as far as their attraction for each other and their feelings for one another. So where does she fit in all of this stuff, right? So Gino says that he wants to continue seeing Natalie. Natalie tells Gino that in order for them to move forward with their own relationship, certain things have to be in place. Number one, he has to tell Jasmine about her. Number two, he has to basically get rid of Jasmine because she's not going to be the side piece in an open marriage situation. So she asks him, have y'all talked about divorce? And he starts, stumbling over his words. And he's like, well, everything has kind of transpired kind of quickly. And we're still kind of early in this whole situation. I don't really know what's going to be happening. So he doesn't really give her a straight answer as far as have they talked about divorce? Are they going to file for divorce or what? So she lays it down to him very clear and concise, telling him, if you want me, you got to get rid of her. Okay. I need to see some type of action as far as you ending things with her. I'm not going to be a part of an open marriage. I'm not going to be the side piece, the mistress, or whatever the hell. Um, so if you want to pursue things with me, you're going to have to end it and get rid of her. So we'll see how that goes. Now, Jasmine, on the other hand, she's still in Michigan. We see her shopping with Gino's cousin's wife, Michelle, who's married to Gino's cousin, Dana. So they're out shopping together. And Jasmine tells Michelle that the whole open marriage thing was a bad idea because she's missing her husband. She still loves Gino. And the fact that he locked her out and she's forced, okay? She wants us to believe that she is forced to stay with Matt as if she wouldn't have done that anyway, as if she hasn't been doing that. Oh, by the way, in my last review, I had said something about how we haven't seen the baby yet. And someone in the comments had corrected me and said at this point that we're watching, Jasmine is probably not even pregnant yet. The baby is not even a notion at this point. So I was confused because we just saw them on the tell all for the last resort, and she was very pregnant at that time when she was on the tell all. And when this season of 90 Day Fiance started, which is this is episode 2. So in episode 1, they showed us a clip of the tell all for the last resort, and she's, on stage, very, very pregnant. So I thought this was a continuation since then, since the tell all. But I don't know how their filming schedule is going. This is before she even got pregnant by Matt. That's what we're watching now, before she even got pregnant, which I'm very confused. So I guess this is between the ending of the last resort and them filming the tell all. I think that's where we're at. Because on the last resort, she had asked Gino if they can have an open marriage. He reluctantly said yes. And so that's how we were introduced to Matt. So I guess they filmed 90 Day Fiance season 9 after the last resort, but before the last resort's tell all, I'm assuming. They squeezed it in there somehow. Hopefully that means that this is going to be a very short season. Anywho, so like I said, Jasmine's out shopping with her cousin-in-law, Michelle. She talks about how the open marriage thing was a bad idea because she didn't expect to live with Matt, I guess. She didn't expect that Gino would lock her out, kick her out of their home. And so this is not what she anticipated. So Michelle seems very concerned for Jasmine. And as we've seen in previous whatever, Gino's family seems to be very much Team Jasmine for some reason. They think that Gino is mistreating Jasmine, that he is not allowing her to like be independent, like he's kind of controlling. And so they don't like that. And Jasmine has convinced them to be on her side because in the very beginning of their relationship, they couldn't stand Jasmine. Dana and Gino's uncle couldn't stand Jasmine. And they were telling, Gino, are you sure you really want to do this? We think that she's just using you for a green card, so on and so forth. They could not stand this woman, but now everybody's team Jasmine and his family. So Michelle breaks it to Jasmine that Gino is seeing another woman. Jasmine says that Gino is breaking their open marriage rules because they're supposed to tell each other when they're interested in somebody else. And the other person is supposed to give approval or permission for their spouse to be with this other person. Like the way she introduced Matt to Gino, and Gino had to give his approval for Jasmine to continue seeing Gino. And so I feel like if this is true, Gina forgot. I think Gina forgot about the damn rules. This is like, anyways. So she's upset. Well, he broke the rules because he's supposed to tell me about, if he wants to see someone else, if he's interested in somebody else, I have to meet her and I have to give my approval, as if that would ever happen. So Jasmine says that she's not dating. She tells Michelle that she's not even dating Matt anymore, that she doesn't even want Matt anymore. But later on, we know she's going to get pregnant by Matt. And I think in real time that she's living with Matt from what I see on social media. So yeah, Jasmine and Gino, to me, they're extremely confusing. I can't be too invested in trying to dissect and understand their dynamic. So let's just move on. Florida. So they're lumping these 3 couples together, right? Because they all live in Florida. But Darcy and Giorgio also live in Florida, but they're not lumping them together with the Florida crowd. And I feel like the reason why we're getting these 3 couples, Lauren and Alexi, Elizabeth and Andrei, Yara and Jovi, the reason why we're getting all of these three people, I think right now in the same scene, I don't think there's enough storyline for them individually, as individual couples to carry the show. I think that's why they're lumping them all together. Like, y'all are not interesting enough on your own. So we're just going to put y'all all together, and hopefully some fights will ensue, and we'll have, something to carry the show. So Lauren's friend, Noga, she is still screeching at Andrei. To tell you the truth, y'all, I'm a little bit on Andre's side. I know that Andrei, he's very problematic as far as him just being very temperamental and angry and yelling and screaming at everybody. And everybody could get this work. He don't care if you're a man or woman, somebody's grandmother, somebody's child. He's going to go toe to toe with anybody. I understand he's problematic in that way. I get that. But I'm very much team Andrei in this because Elizabeth had told them that she didn't want to talk about this Moldova thing at dinner. Lauren kept it up. Lauren continued to talk about the Moldova thing, and she was confronting Andrea about it. And it's like, Lauren, this is none of your business. This is not your fight. Let them figure this out on their own as a couple. This is not for you. You're not, you can't sit up here and feel like, and think that you're fighting for Elizabeth, that, you're her advocate. Elizabeth can make up her own damn mind. She can figure out just Lauren, stay out of it and shut up. But she wanted to pursue it, so she's going back and forth with Andrei, which then brings her friend Noga into the mix, and so both of them are tag teaming Andrei, and so on and so forth. So then they start fighting. So Lauren comes back. So Noga leaves. She's just so frustrated. And it's like, okay, Noga, your friend did you dirty. Okay, maybe you've never seen the show at all. You don't know what's going on in 90 Day Fiance. You don't know these people at all. I don't know. But Lauren should have warned you if you didn't know, if you've never seen the show and you've never seen Andrei. Um, Lauren should have warned you. She should have told you, girl, okay, I'm inviting my friends from the show over for dinner. Andrei's going to be there. I know you don't know him, but please leave that man alone because he is a ticking time bomb. He will be all up in your business and you're not going to like it. And he's going to try to push all of your buttons. So if anything pops off tonight, please stay out of Andrei's way. That's what Lauren should have done because no one's going to win a fight with Andrei because Andrei can go all night long, back and forth, tit for tat. This is what he lives for. So the fact that Noga felt like, she can somehow regulate on, I don't know what she was thinking. So she ends up getting really frustrated with Andrei. She ends up leaving. Lauren tries to bring her friend back. Her friend ain't having it. She's gone. So Lauren comes back to the dinner table where everybody's sitting and she apologizes to all of her guests. And Alexi is just like, hey, let's just move on. But that was the end of that. Everybody ended up leaving. Lauren then questions in her confessional, she questions how Elizabeth can put up with Andrei and that Elizabeth needs to put her foot down with him. They've been together for a while. Elizabeth knows how to handle her dude. I don't know if she knows how to handle him or not, but whatever's going on between them, she likes it because she's still there. She's not going to leave that man. Elizabeth is not going to leave Andrei. So y'all can just stop hoping and praying for that day to come. It's not going to happen. She is enamored. She is deep in love with Andrei. She is so deep in love with him. She will never leave him. She'll argue with him, whatever. She'll try to, stand her ground with him or whatever. She's not leaving Andrei. That's never going to happen. She chose that man over her own family. She's not leaving him. Andrei and Libby are on their way home. So they're talking in the car, and Libby asks Andrei about this whole ultimatum thing. So she's still stuck on that. He was like, I'm sorry, but my English isn't so good. So maybe I used the wrong word. Maybe I don't even know what that word means. So Libby says that Lauren's friend Noga was really out of line. And then so she talks about, how dare her friend, say those things to you. Libby, it's too late now. You should have said that at the time. You should have corrected Noga at the time. You should have told her when she was yelling and screaming at your husband, that's when you should have said, shut the hell up. But you didn't. Now you're talking about it in the car. We don't care. We've moved on. Libby doesn't think that Lauren was very supportive of her as a friend. She thinks that Lauren was overly critical of her because of the fact that, she didn't tell her husband right then and there in front of everybody what her decision was about Moldova or whatever the hell. It's like Lauren did too much. Lauren did way too much. Lauren, you got your own problems. You have your own issues. Those issues were explored previously when we saw you on whatever franchise that was. I don't know if it was, whatever it was. You have body dysmorphia. You're getting a plastic girl. You have your own issues, and you have your own issues. That's all I can say, girl. Please, you don't need to take on Libby's battles for her. Andrei says that everybody's jealous of them. And Libby was like, what are they jealous of? And he says, because we're moving to Moldova. Nope, that's not it, Andrei. So Lauren to me seems like she's on a mission to prevent Libby from moving to Moldova, because she talks in her confessional. She talks about how she still has to talk to Elizabeth about this whole Moldova thing, because her and Alexei were talking about it, and they've concluded that Andrei is going to somehow manipulate Libby into remaining in Moldova when they go visit Moldova. That he's somehow going to do the old switcheroo on her and somehow convince her to stay in Moldova and not return back to the United States. And so she's on this mission to make sure that Libby stays strong and sticks to her conviction, and not allow herself to be manipulated by her husband in staying in Moldova. That's her job. And I'm like, Lauren, please do not make Libby's issues your storyline for this season. It's tacky and it's boring, and we're not interested. Adnan and Tiger Lily. So at this point, Tiger Lily is about 6 months pregnant when we see her. She's in the middle of renovating her country home. It's like a log cabin type home, but it's got all of the amenities and luxury items that her and Adnan have become accustomed to. So they have these two bidets in there, and each bidet was $12,000. Okay, Adnan has money. So, and I think also Tiger Lily has money from her divorce settlement. So it's the next day, and Adnan is scheduled to arrive in Texas. Tiger Lily tells us that in the beginning of their relationship, Adnan really didn't push for her to convert to Islam. But now, after they've gotten married, he's making it an issue for her to convert to Islam. And as soon as I heard her say this, y'all, all of my red flags went up, because once again, after years and years and years of watching the show, once again, we have a couple where the man is Muslim, the woman is not, and their entire storyline is whether or not she's going to convert to Islam. And I'm drained. I'm so drained of this storyline. The only time that it didn't happen, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, if there was another couple, but I feel like the only time that it didn't happen was with Rebecca. Yeah, Rebecca, and I forgot his name. He was from Tunisia. That was the only time that I didn't see the same tired, boring storyline of a husband trying to convince their wife to convert to Islam. Every other time, it's an issue. It's an issue. And there has been one other time where, no, two other times when it wasn't an issue. I'm bad with names, y'all. It was Omar, and I forgot her name. Was he from Syria? I think he was from Syria. His name was Omar, and I forgot her name. She willingly converted to Islam. Way before they even got married, she had already converted to Islam. And then it was the guy that I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but I'm really bad with names. I don't remember anybody's name. I'm really not trying to be rude, but people called him Popeye. They said he looked like Popeye. Popeye the Sailor Man. That couple, she was Muslim, he was not, but he willingly converted to Islam. So every other time, it's an issue. It's a fight. The woman sees it as the man trying to be controlling, when the man is just trying to follow his cultural or religious tradition. And I'm tired of it. I'm so sick and tired of it. But anyways, she brings this up, how now he's making a big issue for her to convert. She has no problem with the child that they're having together being Muslim, but she's, having second thoughts or having doubts about herself converting. But we know, I think she did convert in real life, because the pictures and the videos that I've seen of them on social media, she's wearing the hijab. So I think she ended up converting. Adnan arrives in Texas. So they greet each other at the airport, whatever. And then when they go to the car in the airport parking lot, he takes the keys from her and he's like, I'm going to drive. And she's like, no, you're not. And he's like, yes, I am. I think she has a Lamborghini. And so he wants to flex on the highways in this Lambo. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to be driving. And they're going back and forth, back and forth. And she's, well, aren't you tired? He says, no, but you don't even know the roadways. You don't know the road signs. He's like, I'll figure it out. So every roadblock she puts up for him driving, he overcomes it. He has an excuse. So she ends up letting him drive. And I remember one time questioning, how can someone who's never lived in the United States, how can they be driving? They don't even have a driver's license. And someone in the comments had said that there's like an international driver's license or something. When you apply for your visa, like you also get um, approved to be able to drive in the United States. I don't know. Maybe somebody can explain that more to me. But he got in the car and he drove. And this is his first time driving in the United States. If I was Tiger Lily, there's no way I would have let that happen. Not because he doesn't know how to drive or anything like that. I'm pretty sure he does know how to drive, obviously. But the fact that how is he going to understand our road signs and all of this? Like, how is he going to understand any of that? I would have gotten in the car, and if he couldn't, he also said something like, how is it going to look, my pregnant wife driving and I'm just sitting there in the passenger side. So he kind of saw this as like an ego thing, or like it was inappropriate for him to allow his pregnant wife to drive while he just sits there in the passenger seat. Like it was sort of either emasculating or it wasn't proper. You just don't do this. A man would not allow a pregnant wife to drive him anywhere. Um, I wouldn't have cared about none of that. Just the fact that I would not feel comfortable with driving with him because he probably doesn't understand the road signs and all of that. I would have taken the keys and driven myself home. And if he didn't want to sit in the passenger seat because it was, demeaning for him to sit in the passenger seat as I drive, then take an Uber. Take an Uber. This is the address. I'll meet you there. I would have felt so uncomfortable. On top of it all, when he got on the highway, and Texas highways are no joke. Texas highways are no joke. You better put that foot to the metal or get the hell out of the way. So, anyways, as he's driving on the highway, it starts to rain. And on top of all of that, the balloons that she had brought for his arrival, they're in the back seat. There are these black balloons completely covering up his view, his from the rear. And I'm like, this is so incredibly dangerous. But yeah, they made it. And so Tiger Lily tells us that the controlling man thing is not going to fly here in the United States. Well, the controlling man thing seems to be working because he drove when she didn't want him to. And like I said, I think she did ended up converting. I think she ended up converting to Islam. So the controlling man thing is thriving. It's thriving here in the United States, Tiger Lily. It is thriving. Darcy and Georgi. So it is Darcy and Stacy's 50th birthday, and they're going to be having a big celebration, a big party. So when we see them, Darcy and Stacy are getting ready for their party. Um, Stacy at this point is still with Florian, but we know that after the last resort, they ended up separating. I don't know if they got a divorce, but I think they ended up separating. Like I said, the time frames are very funny to me. I'm trying to put everything together. On the last resort, they're having major, major, major problems, and they ended up separating afterwards. But here, they're still together. But if they filmed this after the last resort, but before the last resort's tell all, I don't know what's going on. So Darcy just found out. So they're on their way to the party. It is Darcy, Stacy, and Florian. They're on their way to the party. And Darcy tells Stacy and Florian that Georgie told her he may not be able to make it to the party because he's busy at work and that he is now the director of operations. I don't know where, like I said, I did not watch Darcy and Stacy's spinoff. I have no idea what's going on. I don't know who Georgie is. I don't know the history of Darcy and Georgie. I thought I heard that he was a masseuse. He works in a massage parlor or something. I don't know. And so I could be wrong, but I think that's what I heard. So he tells Darcy, I'm not going to be able to make it to the party because I'm working, and I'm the director of operations. And this is the first that Darcy had heard of this. Darcy said that he has been the director of operations for a while, but he never told her until now. He never told her that he got this big promotion because, as far as Darcy knew, he was still the dude at the front desk. And I'm just like, why wouldn't he have told Darcy that he got this big promotion? It felt like it was lying. I felt like he was lying to her, like he was with somebody else or doing something else. It had nothing to do with work. That's what it was given. That's the vibes that the show wanted to put out there. That maybe Georgie was doing something that he shouldn't be doing because it didn't make any sense. You're not coming to your wife's 50th birthday party because you're busy at work because now you're the director of operations, but she had no idea until now. And this whole time she thought that you were just a dude at the front desk. Okay. So they arrive at their party. Everybody's happy to see them. Somebody asks Darcy, where's Georgie? She says he's at work. They talk about Darcy's upcoming trip to Bulgaria. They talk about that. Stacy tells us that there's already tension between Darcy and her mother-in-law. And they showed us a text message from the mother-in-law, I'm assuming to Darcy, saying something about how Darcy is not a good person because she kicked her son out of the house during Christmas or something. I don't know. So there's already tension between Darcy and her in-laws. Like I said, I don't know the history of Darcy and Georgie. This is probably was, explained in detail or played out in detail on their own little show. I don't know what's going on there. So Georgie does end up showing up. And when he shows up, people are admiring his necklaces. Like he's dripping in diamonds around his neck. And then Darcy notices that he's not dripping in diamonds on his hand because he doesn't have his wedding ring, his wedding band. And so she says, like, where's your wedding ring? And he says that as a masseuse, he doesn't wear it. So he usually takes it off. So I guess it's back at the massage parlor. And then at some point, the cake comes out, everybody's celebrating, and Florian and Stacy are awkwardly French kissing. And Darcy sees this, and Darcy's like, I want that. Why can't I have that with Georgie? And I'm like, but Stacy and Florian are having major issues. So she's comparing her relationship with Georgie to her sister's relationship with Florian. But at that point, Stacy and Florian are having major issues because Stacy's like jealous and upset that Florian is not treating her right and that he's walking women home at night after they leave the bars and Stacy's not there and he's taking women to walking them to their apartment buildings. I mean, they're having major issues. I don't know, like Darcy, did you not? I don't know. Like I said, the way they film these shows and their schedule, I don't know. I don't know what's what. So Darcy sees Stacy and Florian kissing, and she's like, "Why don't you kiss me like that? I want that." And so then Georgie has no choice but to kiss her. And y'all, when they kiss, I'm just looking at her overly inflated balloon lips, completely like overpowering his lip. And I wonder how they must feel. They kind of make me think that they're hard, that they're not soft and pillowy. I'm pretty sure that they're probably hard. Anyways, so she compares her relationship with her sister's relationship. Darcy talks to a wife of a friend of Georgie who's also from Eastern Europe. And this woman is telling Darcy, hey, when you go to Bulgaria, you need to be prepared. They're very conservative. Yes, you're going to have to tone down how you dress. And just be prepared. They're going to be talking about you. His family's going to talk about you with him. His family's going to talk about you with their neighbors. His family's going to talk about you to their cat. Everybody's going to be talking about you. Just be prepared. They're very conservative. They're very gossipy. So Darcy's like, well, I guess, Georgie was right. I am going to have to tone it down. Okay, fine. Let's move on. Guillermo and Kara. They haven't had sex in 3 months, y'all. They haven't had sex in 3 months because of whatever issues that they're having. I don't even know exactly what's going on here, but I think we were kind of slowly finding out. So they haven't had sex in 3 months. Kara then begins to talk to us about how she's also a bachata singer. Like, Kara has always been a jack of all trades. Like the first time that we saw Kara, she had like 6 different jobs. So she's a real estate agent, and she's also has a singing career. And she said that her singing career has taken off, but Guillermo doesn't support it because he doesn't like the music. So she no longer invites him to any of her shows. He says that he still wants to support his wife and her singing career. He says he's okay with the music. He doesn't love it, but he doesn't hate it. And what really bothers him is the atmosphere, I guess, of the venues that she performs at. Probably, I don't know, a lot of men checking her out. Maybe is that what his issue is? He didn't really expound on what he's seeing there that's not making him happy. So Guillermo suggests to Kara, why don't we go back to sleeping in the same room to help out our issues? And she's kind of like hesitant about it. She's like, well, eventually I'll be okay with that, but it's like not going to happen tonight. And so then Kara tells us that whenever she and him are having problems, she cannot physically connect with him at all whenever they're having issues. So we find out that when they had therapy, during one of their therapy sessions, Guillermo had said that he did not love her. He didn't know if he still loved her. And that really hurt her feelings. And she never got over it. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe that's their issue. It was like but then why were they having therapy? Like what led them to get therapy? And it kind of seems like there's like a disconnect. Like the flame has died down since they first got married. It's not the same that it was. It's not the way that it used to be between them. They've kind of gotten distance. The romance, they've kind of gotten distant. The romance isn't there anymore. It seems like someone in my comments had suggested that they think that Kara cheated on Guillermo. Wow, I hope that's not the case. So Kara says that they're just not the same couple. But ever since he had said in therapy that he didn't know if he loved her, that has stuck with her. And Guillermo apologizes to her and says, I didn't mean it when I said that. And I do love you. So we'll see where it goes from there. Out of all of this nonsense on 90 Day Fiance, I think Kara and Guillermo are probably the most authentic. That doesn't mean that they are authentic. That just means that on the scale of authenticity, they're closest to the real thing than these other couples. These other couples are just giving us BS, complete and total BS. Gino and Jasmine, nonsense. The Floridians, nonsense. Adnan and Tiger Lily. It's authentic, and it's authentic in the worst way that we're having another couple where the religion of Islam is becoming an issue. Darcy and Georgi, nonsense. So Guillermo and Kara, they're like the only ones to me that have any type of semblance of being real, like a real genuine couple with real problems. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video if you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.